Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to all of our witnesses for joining us today to confront the pressing crisis at the FDA. For too long, this agency has faltered, leaving hundreds of products approvals stalled for years at times, while illicit vapes and counterfeit drugs from China flood our communities unchecked. The FDA's inaction has handed the Chinese Communist Party an open door to peddle dangerous knockoffs, threatening our kids and our sick, all while safer options languish under red tape. It's not complicated. Fix the FDA. Fix their sluggish process and ramp up enforcement and stop letting the Chinese Communist Party profit off of poisoning our children. Mr. Safdar, can you discuss the recent incidents of counterfeit drugs, particularly the GLP-1s that are flooding the market, the counterfeit ones?
Yes, and thank you for the question, Congressman, fellow Missourian. We're seeing dangers to patients in 3 different areas that in the GLP-1 space that are very concerning. There's lookalike counterfeits. It's a pen that maybe was an insulin pen where a criminal has pulled off the label and rewrapped it with an Ozempic label, for example, and then sold it to an unsuspecting pharmacy. Just discovered one of those in Arkansas at the end of last year. Clever and attentive pharmacist caught it and quarantined it so that it wouldn't reach a patient. Second category is we're seeing enormous quantity.
Pause. How did that get in the hands of the pharmacists? So surely their supply chain is more reliable than that.
The pharmacist was defrauded. What happened was there is a distributor in Florida who had obtained units of these counterfeit products and had obtained a license to distribute some products in Arkansas. It's not clear exactly what kind of distribution license they had, and they shipped it into Arkansas. So the pharmacists thought they were dealing with a licensed distributor who was licensed by their state board of pharmacy. And not until it showed up and the pharmacist had reason to suspect it was the pharmacist able to say, okay, I know they have a license, but let me set that aside and call the inspector. And the inspector from the Arkansas State Board of Pharmacy came over and used a new tool we have because of the Drug Supply Chain Security Act called Pulse, made by the National Association of Boards of Pharmacy, and scanned it. And that barcode, in under a second, detected that Ozempic as counterfeit. And the Board of Pharmacy then moved immediately to suspend the license of the Florida distributor. Okay. It's a real great story of patient safety. Second category is we're seeing criminals selling illegal research-grade pharmaceutical ingredients to Americans. And they're doing it through illegal foreign fake online pharmacies, and even sometimes on e-commerce sites like Etsy. We've captured images of research only.
On Etsy.
On Etsy.
People are buying.
Yes, unfortunately, I can even show you an example ad of what this looks like. And they're often labeled not for human consumption, but when you get them, there are instructions to inject yourself with them, and people are, in fact, doing that.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. The third thing is one we just did a study about, which is freight shipments of semaglutide and tirzepatide ingredients coming into the U.S. that were not made in any FDA-inspected facility. And because they're freight, they have to actually come with a bill of lading that states the manufacturing location. And we found 179 shipments that were declared in facilities that are not FDA-inspected. For example, a high school in Toronto, a gym in Toronto, and JW Marriott in Vancouver. None of these, I checked, none of these are actually FDA-inspected facilities, and yet in some cases they were let in. And so one of the improvements we would like to see from this next commissioner would be to actually refuse those based upon the bill of lading to show, because if you know that that's not a FDA-inspected registered facility, there's no reason to even let it be shipped to the U.S. There's no reason to have to turn it around here when you know it's not going to be any better when it arrives.
Yeah, I've limited time, but I want to talk about the FDA's process of approvals. It's reportedly holding approvals for numerous generic drugs, even drugs that have shortages, about 238 drugs as of March of this year. What's the impact of this?
So the drug approval process is actually not my specialty. I'm going to defer to my fellow witness, Dr. Kessler.
Mr. Kessler.
Generic drugs are an absolutely essential part of what American families rely on. And we need, the FDA has a responsibility to make sure we all have access to, safe and effective generic drugs. But I'm concerned that that requires
The gentleman's
resources.
out of time.
Thank you. I yield back.